Yo, JD here to Limitless, and as you can see, we are not on F1 today. We are in the world of Gran Turismo 7, and this is a game that I have been extremely hyped to play. I never got the opportunity to play GT Sport. The only Gran Turismo games I played in the past have been Gran Turismo 1 and 2 when I was much younger, and I absolutely loved those games. Those were pretty much the first racing games I ever played, them and Need for Speed. So when 7 was being announced, I couldn't wait to get my hands on it, and this is actually the opening day of the game itself. And in this video, I'm going to be showing you my very first online race that I have ever done on Gran Turismo, and then I'll be explaining my initial thoughts about the game. I'm not going to do a review or anything like that, because obviously we needed much more time before we can give that kind of analysis, but I'll just give you my first impressions and my experience so far. So if you're looking to pick up this game, it should be able to give you quite a good insight. And you can see we're going into a daily race here. Regulations per race, that's something you have to keep an eye on. You have to make sure you have the right car in your inventory within the regulations. So all these cars you actually have to tune to the best of your ability before going into these races. And if you don't know what daily races are, I will be explaining that very briefly. But you can see going into the set menu, as I said before, I feel it's got a great balance between a simulation and a arcade game, where the physics are definitely more towards a simulation, but not quite, in my opinion. But it doesn't give you that overwhelming factor like an iRacing or an R Factor does. Because if you don't know what you're doing, it can really feel like you're looking at how to operate an airplane or something like that. But we're coming into this race here now. And these daily races are determined by your safety rating, also by your license level and the points you've acquired online. So the more points you get, the more race wins, the cleaner you've been in races. Like in iRacing, if you know how that system works, it pretty much works in almost exactly the same way. So everyone here should be fairly inexperienced on this game. Obviously, it being a day one, that will be the case, but you should be racing people usually with an equal ability to yourself as well. And coming into this race, I purely just selected the car that would enable me to actually compete. So I didn't upgrade it, I didn't tune it or anything whatsoever. So we're going to take this part in the high speed ring raceway. I don't know if this is a real track or not, but I actually quite enjoyed driving around this circuit. So this is going to be my first race I've done. See, I've just changed my name to JD here, and we're in a Honda Fit, if I believe that is the car I'm in. And you can see we get an absolutely shocking start. I am a complete noob at this series. I do not know what I'm doing at this point. So we're up into P7, but then you can see this guy just absolutely steamrolls past us. So quite clearly he has tuned his car and upgraded it to a significant degree. So we've lost one position, and you can see he's just absolutely rapid. So I don't even know where I'm going at this point. I'm just looking at the map on the top right hand side of the screen. And just for reference, this was actually played on PlayStation 4, which I think the graphics look absolutely incredible for that. So as we go into the braking zone here, I got a car just diving down the inside, and yep, welcome to Gran Turismo. That's not going to do my safety rating any good, and we're in last. We can see by the radar on the right hand side, in stone cold last. So see, drivers immediately seem to be either very clumsy or quite aggressive at this stage, as someone is just absolutely trying to start a fire against the wall here. So trying to go around the outside. I believe we're in the same car. So a lot of people will be in the same car of you. When you're doing these daily races, it will usually be within 2 or 3 cars that people will operate in, because they need to have a certain weight limit. They need to have a certain brake horsepower, certain caliber of the car, be able to use certain tyres, and yeah, it's a system I really do enjoy. But right now we're trying to get back into this race as much as we can. Not particularly fast cars here, very different to the Formula 1 cars that I often drive on F1 2021. And you can see, I think me and this guy haven't tuned our cars at all, and I think that is a case of the majority of this lobby. They are probably just as unaware as I am in terms of how to upgrade and tune the car. And again, we will get into that very shortly. But you can see this corner is going to be quite a comfortable flat out, go around the outside, and you can see by the radar, which is quite a nice useful feature, get that move done nicely. And the gap is about 3.8 seconds up to the car ahead. So just touching on my experience so far, you have to go through quite a lot of career objectives first. You have to achieve a level 9 in this cafe story mode. You'll know exactly what I mean if you've been playing this game. I had to grind that out for 3 hours to even unlock the online, so a little bit frustrating, but I guess that's their way of trying to avoid trolls and people who aren't really going to take the game seriously to play online. But I do think it's a little bit more time consuming than it needed to be. So going through a lot of tutorials, trying to go through the licenses, I get it, but I think it was a bit of an overkill process. And in terms of how everything works, you kind of have this world map, as you saw at the beginning of this video, where you can go between different locations. So we're in the sport mode here, which is basically like a ranked playlist. So it's like online lobbies, but these are all ranked. So you're going to get points for this. You're going to be able to upgrade your safety rating, going in better cars, racing against better people. And this is the game mode that everyone pretty much plays in. And with this, as I mentioned before, depending on your license or your experience or your safety rating, you will get to race in certain cars around certain tracks. And the more progressive your license and in the career, the more tracks you can actually drive and the better players you can go against. And you have to keep an eye on the regulations. So you have to make sure you bought the car and it's in your garage and inventory, and you have to make sure it's within the certain brake horsepower, certain weight limit, and other basically restrictions. You need to make sure it's within those limits, otherwise you won't be able to race. So it's a very cool experience. Already feels very immersive to me. As you can see, we're catching up to this guy quite nicely. So just doing everything we can to get back into this race and go around the outside of this car. Although we're doing 60 miles an hour, still quite intense. And honestly, I was having so much fun here. It's just something different. And again, it really reminds me of games such as PGR4, where you had these daily races, these ranked races, where you could get points, you could get upgrades, racing in better cars, racing against real people. The online works fantastic. Yeah, I really enjoy this experience so far. So I will be doing many more videos on this. Probably will be trying to do daily races quite often. So if you want to race me in online lobbies, so private lobbies, make sure you join my YouTube membership Discord by clicking that join button, as this guy is just ramming into me. So not really doing our safety ratings any favors whatsoever. So we've got a gap of 2.2 seconds. So coming on to this last lap now, so got back up to 5th place. The guys in the lead, I think they have tuned their cars and they are just absolutely long gone. But yeah, it just feels there's so much level of detail that goes into this game. The graphics, the music, I absolutely love as well. It's, yeah, really brings back some memories and nostalgia as well. And just the physics are surprisingly very realistic. Now, as I said, they're not a full sim, but there is a quite a big skill gap that I think will be shown in this game. And there is just so many tracks to drive, so many tracks in reverse, so many cars as well, and you have the ability to tune them to what you need. So going with certain suspensions, certain engines, whether you want the raw power or you want the raw handling, people in the same car could have very, very different approaches. And as I said, it's not that overwhelming either. So I've really, really enjoyed it so far. Please like this video if you want to see more content from this game itself. And you can see we've tried our best. The guy in the lead has already won, so there's absolutely no way that we could have beaten him in this car. It doesn't matter what kind of driver we are, but you can see we're slowly starting to get to the grips. I really could feel the forces going through the wheel. The force feedback was excellent on this game as well. So coming across the line, take a note of the lap time that we're going to do as well, because we are going to be doing another race after this. So coming across the line, what is this going to be? It's going to be a 47-0. And the guy has done a 6 minutes 48 for his total time. So that is my very first race I've done in Gran Turismo 7. You can see trophy earned sport mode debut, which it was. And yeah, a pretty cool experience for the first one. So now we're going to go into another race, because basically it's day races. You have to sign up to them, and every 5 to 10 minutes they do another race. So we're going to different one, and this time we decided to choose a different car and tune this up to the maximum brake horsepower within the limit. So I think it was about 146 brake horsepower. Had to be over 1,000 kilograms, and you can see the difference night and day. I feel like we've got an absolutely rapid car in a straight line, and the handling as well. And I think this is a hybrid car, a Toyota Aqua or something like that what we're using. And you can see, I think our max speed before was like 109 miles an hour. Now it's like 124 already. So if you know what you're doing with the tuning, and all you have to do as we're just being a complete bandit, that's just me being a complete noob, just ramming into this guy called Leroy here. Yeah, all you have to do is go into the tuning location and make sure that you're in the car, and then you can tune it from there. It tells you how much brake horsepower, how much more performance you're getting, and there's something called PP rating on your car, and the higher that is, basically the better it is. So that's something to really look out for, and you just got to make sure you're within the limits of what the race restrictions are. It's coming through it here. You can see the straight line speed. It's absolutely no match. It's been a little bit aggressive here, this rudders, but we're going to nab that position using the radar quite effectively. So we're getting that move done, and just thinking about going down the inside, but let's see what our straight line speed is going to be compared to this Leroy, who we are both in the same car as well, if I'm not mistaken. So again, that slipstream, but it's not really the slipstream. It's just that our car has just been tuned pretty much to 1 brake horsepower of the limit, and we did a few tweaks to the handling as well. So I might do some tutorials on that in the future, because this worked out quite nicely with this car straight away. And you can see the gap is already about 2 to 3 tenths completely flat out through here, and since everything's mostly flat out, it's going to be a hard time for him to reclaim that position. So coming towards the end of lap 2, the gap is now over 1 second, and you can see the engine just whining as it's trying to decide which gear it wants to go in. So this one's an automatic compared to the manual we were using before, and you can hear the exhaust popping quite violently behind the car as well. And going across the line, we did a, what was it, 47 before? It's a 37 this time. 10 seconds quicker than what we did previously, and I think that was 37.1. So yeah, 9.9 seconds quicker coming across the line. I think this lap is going to be even faster. The gap is 3 seconds here, and going across the line, it's a 36.8. And yeah, doesn't matter how good you are as a driver, if you're not tuning it properly, then you're going to be in big trouble. But in terms of how I was feeling in this game, I was feeling very connected to this game, quite quickly, and you can see we're doing a 37.2 to finish off. Leroy hasn't crossed the line yet. Let's see what the gap is going to be to him behind, because he was quite a fast driver, but it's 6.8 seconds, and we are in the same car as well. I really hope you enjoyed that video. Please give it a like if you enjoyed watching Gran Turismo 7. I will be doing many videos on this game, and it was just really quite refreshing to be playing something different as well. I really hope you enjoyed that. Thank you so much for the support on the channel. Please join clicking the join button if you wish to join my open lobbies online. Make sure you go to coachlimitless.com for one-to-one coaching, and I will catch you very, very soon. Peace.